Shardar here is really setting up a stage that allows you as a restaurant to come in and change the way that you present yourself in the way that will resonate into the market, but still lean into your brand. Like that was something that as a business owner, I don't think if you ran a restaurant, you would come up with that concept. You would need somebody like yourself in their corner to be able to create an idea that was that grandiose, that large, and that different than the perspective of what they have within their portfolio.
Welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs, growing 1% everyday podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneur podcast, where we get to discuss how to improve 1% every day in both business and in sales. Today, we have Shardul Kiri, the owner of Cultivate Hospitality, a full-service marketing, branding, and design agency uniquely focused on all things hospitality. Recognized for their amazing design work and their ability to consistently grow restaurants and other hospitality businesses across the United States. I'm pumped for the opportunity to discuss how he is growing his clients every single day. Thank you, Shardul, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on, Kyle. Appreciate being here.
Your industry is one that I am absolutely in love with. I grew up in a restaurant. My parents owned a restaurant as a kid. I started my company initially to help out a lot of small mom and pop restaurants, but you're doing it to a level of excess that really expands these clients and allows them to grow all across the US. Can you give me a little bit of a deep dive of how you started your company, where the interest of all this comes from, and kind of what motivates you today?
Yeah, thanks. I really started in hospitality when I had my previous agency, which was 100% focused on branding, right? And designing a logo, naming all of that for restaurants is just a passion project for any designer. So when I had the opportunity to do that, it really just steamrolled into multiple restaurant clients. And that's how I really got my intro into the restaurant world. Um, I was looking to move on from that agency. One of my clients, a celebrity chef, Michelin star, James Beard, all of that stuff, asked me the right day at the right time to jump ship and come and be his CMO. So that's really what completely put me into the hospitality world, right? And so for this great chef, I was working as a CMO, took him from 22 restaurants to 45 restaurants over the 2-year period that I was with them. Consistent growth, sales numbers, all of that improving year over year. And then in 2018, left that and started Cultivate Hospitality as an agency specifically focused in restaurants and hospitality. Because I realized during that time of running his marketing team, this didn't exist, right? Like there were a lot of agencies that said they knew hospitality, but they didn't really. And it's a unique industry in the fact that you can propose hundreds of ideas, but if it can't be executed in a restaurant, it doesn't matter how great the idea is, right? And there are a lot of unique challenges to what a general manager or an executive chef or team in a restaurant are doing with every single day that you have to be thoughtful in how you are proposing ideas and marketing campaigns and all of that to be able to truly be executable within their space.
Oh, incredible. And what a progressional story. I mean, it's awesome to start off with branding, the imagery, the representation of a business. And that's really where a restaurant gets its stride, is how it represents itself and its food. And then to dive in and see it firsthand, help it grow, and then create an own company where you're able to do that with clients every single day. So my question is, you brought up a very good topic of that most people don't understand the difficulties that restaurants go through. What was the one real problem that you saw in the advertising in the hospitality space that you were looking to solve when you built your company?
Yeah, kind of what I said, right? We would hire these agencies, social, digital, whatnot, and they'd come up with amazing ideas that one, either were just way too expensive for a restaurant to even figure out how to execute, right? Like restaurants don't have thousands and thousands of dollars just sitting around waiting to buy billboards in Times Square. That's an extreme example, but um, even things where it requires the chef to introduce a new menu item every single day for a 1 month period, right? Like that's a lot of work for the entire team to understand how to cook a brand new recipe every single day for an entire month, right? And so I understand that you might have these ideas that go along with what's happening in society or holidays or time periods. But if the restaurant is going to fail at execution, then that marketing campaign is going to fail, right? If you can drive a guest back into a restaurant, that is a lot easier to build loyalty and grow revenue a second, third, fourth, fifth visit than it is to get someone in the first time. So if they've come in the first time after that marketing campaign or that program that you're putting into place, they have a bad experience. The chances of getting them back in the door are that much slimmer, right? So really, again, working with the restaurant team, understanding their capabilities, and wanting to really understand their capabilities, right? To make sure that your ideation really aligns with what they're capable of doing. And every restaurant is different. It's not that if this worked at this restaurant, restaurant B can also execute that as well.
What a great example and something for the entrepreneurs and the business owners to be understanding in their own business at a restaurant or not. That you need to make sure that the marketing, the way that you're presenting yourselves, or the campaign ideologies you want to put out there align with how your business functions. Great example of a new menu item every single day for a month. As I was a chef for about 5 years, and I would never, never want to deal with that. That would be horrible. But it's a good idea until you put it down on paper, and it's a
Exactly.
great way of you explaining how well you're integrated into that hospitality industry and how well you understand it. What the question I have to ask leading into that is that obviously there's some restrictions and there's some capabilities that restaurants have or don't have. When you walk into a restaurant and you walk into a hospitality business and you're going to help them out, what makes you guys unique in the process of finding that mesh of how to push the limits of the restaurant so that it represents itself in a new way and it's a shiny spoon factor for the local consumers, but still being able to stay inside their means so they can execute at a high level?
Sure. I think that really just comes from the years of experience that I've had in this space, right? I can have conversations with the general manager, with the bar manager, with the chef, ask specific questions on what their process is for how they roll out a holiday menu, what they're doing for reservations, how they're setting up their books, what their cover flow looks like, right? And you learn a lot just by asking some of these initial basic questions about their business, um, that give you that real quick insight. Say, okay, this is a chef that is really adept at being creative and rolling with the punches, right? Or no, this chef is actually one that is very much focused on being very process driven, right? And doesn't iterate and create on a regular basis, right? Or a general manager that doesn't have a lot of support staff in place, right? And so they're the person that are working 6 days a week. And so having them come in for a brunch program and a dinner program in the same day for a 3 week period is just not effective, right? Like there's no way that that person can actually succeed in that environment. So just asking those questions, actually listening and understanding how they work and what drives their success every day, right? Gives you so much insight off the bat.
How what a unique position and perspective that you have and being able to go in there and understanding how a restaurant functions, understanding the psychology of the chef or whoever's running the business, and being able to mesh with that and really bring something that's not going to change their business, but highlight and advance the growth of their business by leaning into what they do best. Very, very powerful. But you mentioned before on the call that you had a new program coming out that's going to be effective for clients and restaurants that have a little bit of a smaller budget and don't really have the capability of putting out hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to grow their restaurant. Can you elaborate a little bit on what you were talking about there?
Absolutely. Yes. Over the years of supporting restaurants, we create bespoke solutions, right? We do everything from PR to social media to digital marketing, ad buys, all of that stuff. And through all of that, the big thing that we've really come to realize that is a step one process is just exposure. And we know that just through data, 80% of all web traffic for restaurants goes through Google. And if we're not doing a phenomenal job of making sure that you are being found on Google, that is sort of step one of failure. And there's traditional search engine optimization that is all about driving people to your website. But with the smartphones and Google Maps and all of that, right? More people now search via Google Maps for a brick and mortar business, for restaurant near me, bar near me, best food near me, that type of thing. And that is all really driven by your Google business profile that most businesses have no idea is as important of a marketing tool it is. So we've developed a very sort of small basic package that allows us to really optimize your Google business profile, which Google is very transparent about that. They want to see engagement on their Google business profile. That is their new social media, right? They want to see posts going up on that weekly. They want to see images uploaded, questions and answers, reviews being generated, reviews being responded to. So that's all stuff that we can take on for the businesses because it takes hours every single day, every week to do. And it is a very simple package. Be able to support that and help drive their visibility on Google Maps much higher month over month for some specific keywords that they might want to rank for as best bar or best Mexican restaurant or mixology, right? We can figure out what those are and then help them rank highly for those searches.
What a beautiful program. Low cost system that emphasizes exactly what is needed to drive the right traffic into your business. The Google My Business profile, you're 100% right, super valuable. And the reviews on there combined with posts will get you in a position where, as you said, 80% of the traffic is already coming from that platform, allowing you to optimize to gain the access to the consumers looking for your restaurant today. So the way you're speaking though, are you working with every type of restaurant, even little mom and pop shops, or is there a very unique type of restaurant or hospitality business that you guys like to work with?
Yeah, no, we are across the board, right? We have clients that are restaurant groups that have 14 plus restaurants across the country. We have clients that are fast casuals that have a multitude of locations just within one city, within one downtown area of a city. And then mom and pop restaurants as well, right? That are truly run by the mom and dad. The mom's in the kitchen cooking, the dad's front of house running the cash register and seating guests. So for us, we really look at what the business opportunities are and do we truly think that we can actually help them grow their business and succeed, right? Are they even open to it? So many businesses say, yes, we need to grow, we need to get more customers in the door. But when you put pen to paper, they're not actually willing to invest the time that they need to do to make that successful as well, right? As much as we can drive people to the door, if they're not willing to put in the effort to make sure that the food is great, the service is great, the hospitality is there, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, 100%. I always go back to there's an interview with Gary Vee and Anthony Bourdain that talks about the retention of a customer and the fact that if a customer comes in for the first time and they have a 5-star experience, they have I believe he says around a 40% chance of coming back to the restaurant. They come back a second time and it's an amazing experience, 5-star. There's about a 42% chance of them coming back. With the third visit, if they come back and all 3 visits were 5 stars and incredible, now you have over a 70% chance of that consumer coming back naturally. And as you said, it really putting the effort into the food, into the ambiance, into the overall structure of your restaurant so that it is that 5-star experience is what's going to lead to those return customers, which is where the revenue really comes. I mean, acquiring a customer for any restaurant is difficult, right? There's a lot of competition in the market, a lot of cost across the board. And to make sure that your system is not just acquiring the client, but also keeping them in the business for the long term is how you grow a successful restaurant. Obviously, at Cultivate Hospitality, you guys understand this very thoroughly. I want to ask you, you have a level of confidence. You obviously, when you speak about these restaurants, you know what you're talking about from your internal understanding in your work. But to build the level of confidence to understand how to market them and to get them into position to consistently grow like you've done in the past, you have to have level of confidence built by fire, built by trials and tribulations and challenges that come across. And as I know in the restaurant industry, there's always a challenge, there's always a fire, right? So do you have a story that maybe our listeners would really resonate that you've dealt with throughout the time, or maybe a challenge that you face in helping these hospitality businesses that change the way that you do business?
Sure. Let me think about that. I think, to start off, I think something that sets us apart from other agencies, right, that I think has really helped us drive success for our clients is the fact that my background is in branding. And that is really defining and creating the essence of who you are, what this business is, what its differentiators are, right? And everything that we do from a marketing perspective really maps back to that idea of the core of the brand, right? Um, Marketing is not a science as much as we all wish it is, right? One thing that works here is not going to work there or the second or the third time, right? Marketing is so much of as much as it hurts to say it, is throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks, right? But when you understand the brand and you understand the essence of that restaurant and what they're going for, it helps to streamline the thought process around what your tactics and approaches are going to be. Um, for example, I was working for a restaurant in San Francisco, International Smoke, and they were launching Celebrity Chef, um, also a celebrity business partner along with that project, right? And we were even with the celebrity stature, we're working with a very low budget and we're trying to figure out ideas to be as guerrilla as possible. This is in a downtown market, um, an urban neighborhood, urban clientele. And so the design of the restaurant introduced some level of graffiti art within the interiors. And so we wanted to figure out how to bring that outside, but we're not going to go tag up a bunch of walls in the city. San Francisco has an amazing reputation for not always being the cleanest city. So we thought to ourselves, well, why don't we actually go anti graffiti and let's clean the city? So we had templates created of the logo that we pressure washed on walls and sidewalks throughout the city. So we were actually taking the grime away in a way that looked like we were tagging and introducing that sort of um, gritty or urban experience to this restaurant into the city.
What an incredible marketing plan. That is an awesome, awesome leverage of understanding how your business functions, how the local market is, and how to be a differentiator and a disruptor in the space. What a beautiful did the campaign crush it? Did it work amazingly well or
It
what?
worked amazing. The covers, we were booked the first 3 months. Yes.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And that's, that is the type of confidence that you need to have to be able to really help a restaurant change. And at Cultivate Hospitality, Shadar here is really setting up a stage that allows you as a restaurant to come in and change the way that you present yourself in the way that will resonate into the market, but still lean into your brand. Like that was something that as a business owner, I don't think if you ran a restaurant, you would come up with that concept. You would need somebody like yourself in their corner to be able to create an idea that was that grandiose, that large, and that different than the perspective of that what they have within their four walls. So super powerful. Congrats to you guys. I mean, that's an awesome campaign ideology. I gotta ask a little bit about the future. We've talked a little bit about where you've came from, kind of what you've done so far, how you're crushing it today. But restaurants, I believe, have an opportunity for progression in the next 3 to 5 years. There's a lot of new AI technology, AR technology coming out that will allow us to see the plate of food on our table before it ever comes out. And there's VR technology that as soon as they bring in smell to it, you'll probably be able to sell food off of it as well, right? So my question to you, someone that's so well ingrained in the hospitality industry, where do you see the industry going the next, say, 3 to 5 years? And with that, where's Cultivate Hospitality going in the next 3 to 5 years to keep up with that?
Yeah. I think that you'll find that there are a lot of restaurants that take advantage of a lot of technology and things that are coming up, right? To all the points that you're saying, there are experiences that can be put into place to take advantage of that stuff. I think, though, the restaurants that have the lasting power are the ones that truly understand the idea of experience. Um, since COVID, right, we popularized the idea of great restaurants, Michelin star restaurants, fine dining to casual, delivering food home. So, what's the reason for me to actually go out versus just have food at home, right? And that comes down to the experience. I'm going for the entire package. You said something earlier around delivering a five-star experience across the board, right? And I'll differ on that a little bit. I think that you can go to a restaurant, have amazing food and a bad experience, and you'll never go back to that restaurant. You can go to a restaurant and have okay food. You felt good about it, nothing memorable, but had an amazing experience, right? The servers were awesome. You built a great rapport. The environment was great. The music was good. And you will leave that experience like, wow, that was fun. I want to go back there again, right? So the restaurants that really do an amazing job of figuring out that sense of hospitality and experience are the ones that I think are going to have the lasting power. Um, and as I think of that and tie it back to Cultivate, right? For us, beyond just being a marketing partner, we also see ourselves growing into becoming an operations partner and actually really being able to advise and work with our clients on really understanding how to create that experience, how to create that branded experience, how to go beyond just the operational experience that people are used to and the hellos at the host stand and the thank yous, but what is your concept? How is the host saying hello? How are they greeting you? When the server is dropping your check, what does that look like? What is that extra touch that you're bringing to that experience to make it memorable, right? And really advising our clients on all of those types of touch points to take their business and their experience to the next level.
I couldn't agree with you more on the experience factor. Yeah, when I mentioned 5-star before, it's got to be 5-star in the consumer's mind. That's either the experience, the ambiance, the employees that come in. food definitely has to have that factor in there, right? You leave with an upset stomach and still full, you might not be too happy. But at the end of the day, the overall ambiance, everything that packages within the restaurant will give you that 1 to 5 star experience. So, and I love that. I couldn't agree with you more. I think that coming out of post-COVID, experiences have been more and more valuable in everybody's minds, right? It's cool to get free at home. It's nice. I can watch my movie and sit down and eat a decent meal, but it never tastes the same.
Yep.
Never tastes the same at my couch that it does when I'm sitting down in a restaurant. And as my father would always say, food is always the best when you're hungry and somebody else makes it for you. And when you're sitting down at a restaurant, it feels like someone's taking care of you,
Yeah.
right? They're always getting taken care of.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you, Shardul. How do you find your Kaizen? Right? Kaizen, for the listeners out there, Kaizen is a Japanese business term that means 1% progression every single day in both business and in self. Obviously, you are on the cutting edge of how hospitality should be positioning themselves in today's market to really evolve, leverage their brand, and grow, give a great user experience, and really have a consistent growth plan. But when it comes to yourself and understanding this market and stay on top of the market, what do you do to stay on top of all the changes in hospitality, as well as keep yourself at peak conditioning to support your clients and your team?
Sure. So, I mean, at a base level, right, it's just being open and aware to all the information that's around you, right? Like there's all the hospitality blogs, the trade publications, all of that stuff that give you just basic information on a regular basis. And so I definitely make it a goal of mine on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to be going through all of that and just understanding what trends and updates are happening within the industry. But as I said earlier, right, like one of the things that I think is my superpower is really taking the time to listen to my clients, and they're in it every single day, boots on the ground. And it's a different business than mine. Although I support them, it's a different business than mine, right? And for me, really investing the time and hearing them every single day and learning something new from what they're dealing with, and then figuring out how I can apply that to my world and my business is what I think has consistently kept me growing as a person and kept Cultivate growing as an agency.
Incredible. And the fact that you're so, yeah, I have to say, I think you're absolutely in love with this field, right? You are so ingrained, you're animated when you talk about it, you get engaged by bringing it up and being a part of that boots on the ground and working with them every single day, as well as staying on top of the trends, means that you have to love what you do. So, again, restaurant owners, hospitality owners, listen to this right now. If you're looking for support, you're looking to find a way to move your restaurant to the next level, you got to connect here with Shardul from Cultivate Hospitality. I have one last bonus question for you. You ever read the book Atlas Shrugged?
I know of it. I have not read it. No.
Okay, it's a super long book. I don't the
Yes.
read's tough, right? The read is tough, but the concept's incredible. The concept for the listeners out there, the book Atlas Shrugged talked about that the world today and the world's always been moved forward by business owners. Business owners is what put the stress on our shoulders to move and progress the world forward. Ideas and concepts are great, but until they're operations and into a business, they don't actually push society to a new level. The book Atlas Shrugged talks about what would happen if all of us business owners, you, me, the listeners right now, what if we just shrugged off our business and decided not to run our companies anymore? And we walked away, and it explains what the world would look like if we would do that. So my question to you, Shardul, is that if today Atlas shrugged and you walked away from your agency, I walked away from mine, everyone walked away from their restaurants, the facility's still there, but no chefs are running it. Home improvement materials out there, but no one's running a business to do anything. What would be the first company that you would start tomorrow?
I think for me, it would be something mapping back to experiences, right? Creating something that provided people memories, which I think honestly goes back to why I work with the restaurant industry as it is, right? Because to me, life is a series of memories, good, bad, ugly. That is how you tell time. It is not days and weeks and months and moments, right? It is moments that yeah, you remember, and that's how you translate. And so being in the business of helping people create those moments or create those memories, I think is where I'd want to be.
What a beautiful answer. And again, entrepreneurs and business owners listening to this right now, specifically in the hospitality industry, if you want your business to be an experience, to be something that your consumers resonate with, that actually come in and love your restaurant, want to stay and become repeat customers time and time again, you got to reach out to Shardul here at Cultivate Hospitality. Shardul, if they've listened to this and they want to get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, they can definitely go to our website, cultivatehospitality.com. And that will give them access to all of our information, or they can find us on Instagram at by Cultivate.
Love it. All that information is going to be found below in the description. If you guys have made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Shardul, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate your expertise and your knowledge, specifically here in the hospitality field, and love what you're doing within the industry. As a restaurant lover myself, keep pushing on, keep making incredible experiences, and thank you again for your time.